Hello friends, I'm George, the nice medic gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing well. What you're seeing right now is me from the future. I had to re-record this intro part of the video because the original intro got corrupted for some reason. But today's video is going to be about me trying 5 new scents from the House of Fragrance world. Trying them for the first time. The 5 scents that are going to be featured in today's video are called Vanilla So Sweet, Wurood, Saffron Elixir, Posh Omega and Cherry Incense. So join me in this video today to see what are my first impressions about those 5 fragrances. Now I forgot to mention that in fact all 5 fragrances are clones in the opening of the video, and also I just wanted to ask you to excuse me for my slightly crooked voice, but I've been feeling a little bit under the weather in the past couple of days. Okay, so the first one that I'm going to try is called the Saffron Elixir, and it comes from FA Paris, which is short for French Avenue, and this is the higher end line of Fragrance World scents. I've never tried the original fragrance that this is cloning. The original is supposedly cloned Crystal Saffron from Matière Première. I'm not familiar with the original scent, so let's see how this one smells. The bottle is kind of interesting in this dual colors, black and white. So we have to slide this top part of the box out, and then this is how the bottle looks. It has an interesting simplistic design and it has quite a lot of heft. Let's see how this one smells. Sprayer seems to be quite decent. Okay, so onto the actual scent of this fragrance. It's a very interesting fragrance that kind of reminds me of something like Ganymede. Very heavy on the saffron, and the saffron in here is used in pretty much the same way that you find in Ganymede. It actually brings quite a lot of Ganymede, sort of memories or vibes. There's a bit of muskiness in here, a touch of incense as well. But the main player in the opening is that saffron note that comes off kind of mineralic, just pretty much the same way that I pick up out of Ganymede. Although this feels like a slightly sweeter, take on the Ganymede DNA. The next one that I'm going to check out will be Bois Daraba Wurood. This is how the box looks. I had to already take out the plastic part. And then this is how the bottle looks. It has kind of an interesting design with a plastic cap. Now this is supposedly a clone of Drydown 1 or first. I don't know exactly how to pronounce the name of the original fragrance, which is a niche scent. But the bottle design, actually, from what I've googled, looks pretty similar to what you get with the original. This is how the sprayer works. It's actually a pretty good sprayer. And now onto the scent of this fragrance. Now what I pick up, it's quite a gentle scent actually. I pick up quite a lot of cinnamon, something green in the opening, and a very nice cardamom note in the opening of this fragrance. Maybe a touch of incense as well, some muskiness, and some woodiness. It feels like quite an interesting sort of a light type of scent, light in the air. It doesn't feel very sweet or very spicy or very woody, sort of a neutral type of scent profile. Very interesting scent that, at least in my opinion, smells perfectly unisex. The next one that I'm going to check will be Vanilla So Sweet. This is supposedly a clone of Guerlain's Spirituous Double Vanilla, And again, I've never tried the original scent, but for what I have googled, you know, how the original looks, the bottle of Vanilla So Sweet actually seems to be pretty close to the bottle of the original scent, you know, design wise. An interesting cap, plastic, that feels like a snug fit. Okay, let's see the sprayer in action. Another very decent sprayer, pretty good actually. And on to the scent of this fragrance. It's well, the name is pretty accurate when it comes to the scent of this fragrance. This is a fragrance that's definitely very heavy on the vanilla note, but it has kind of a a little bit of a freshness up top, maybe something citrusy, something like a bergamot note, maybe a touch of spiciness as well. But the vanilla is very strong right from the first second you spray this fragrance. There's a touch of something fresh as well, maybe something like a rose note, I'm not too sure. The next one in line will be Cherry Incense. Now this fragrance is supposedly a clone of Tom Ford's Cherry Smoke. I've never tried the original fragrance. I've tried the other, the Lost Cherry one. The box design is pretty similar to what you get with the original Tom Ford fragrances. This is how the bottle looks, again pretty close to the original Tom Ford design. 80 ml bottle size of this one. Let's see the sprayer in action and then I'll talk about the scent. The sprayer is actually pretty good. And now onto the scent of Cherry Incense. Now there's definitely quite a lot of incense in the opening of this fragrance, like the name would suggest, and also there's a very strong cherry note, again as the name would suggest, but it's not as simple as just those two notes. I pick up something spicy, maybe something like a saffron note. I pick up quite a strong leather note as well in here, and also something boozy. I'm not sure whether it's supposed to have a boozy note in this one or in the original or not, but I definitely pick up something boozy in the opening of Cherry Incense. And it seems to be a sort of an unisex scent that maybe leans a little bit to the masculine side, at least the opening, because of quite a heavy amount of incense note in this fragrance. And now let's try the last one, that's called Posh Omega. This fragrance is a clone of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male Essence. Now, I'm familiar with the original scent, although I have not tried it for quite a long time, but still I have a pretty good idea how the original smells. Okay, so you got this collar-like thing that you need to slide out before you can access the bottle. And again, this is another 80 ml sized bottle, which I'm not particularly a great fan of. I prefer 100 ml bottle sizes. Let's check this one. Again, a pretty decent sprayer. Okay. A very nice dose of cardamom in the opening of this fragrance, and it's actually very lovely. Also quite a lot of pepper, maybe a touch of something citrusy, some leather definitely, some sweetness from a vanilla. It's a very nice opening, just brings a lot of memories. As I said, this is supposedly a clone of Essence Le Parfum from Jean-Paul Gaultier, and it's actually a, at least from what I remember the original smelling, this thing is really good. Okay, so about 1 hour has passed since I tried all 5 fragrances. So let's see the dry downs of all of them, and I'm going to start again with Saffron Elixir. And as I said, this fragrance very strongly reminded me of Ganymede in the opening. Got that very minerally smelling saffron note, and on the dry down, the Ganymede vibes are still very strong. It's pretty similar to Ganymede, but at the same time has quite a few interesting differences. First of all, this has a nice incense note that differentiates it quite a lot compared to to Ganymede. Also, Saffron Elixir has more sweetness, more amber sweetness on the dry down compared to Ganymede. And all in all, I can definitely say that I enjoy Saffron Elixir more compared to Ganymede. I've said this before, but Ganymede has never been one of my most favorite scents. Now let's talk about briefly, about Bois Daraba Wurood. This is a very interesting fragrance, very light type of scent that brings sort of like a Coca-Cola vibes, at least in my opinion, to my nose on the dry down. It's a very interesting mix. There's some sweetness, some amber sweetness in here. There's a nice amount of cinnamon spiciness, also a very nice cardamom note, a very creamy sandalwood. It's a very, very interesting scent that in my opinion is absolutely perfectly unisex. Next, let's talk about Vanilla So Sweet. Now this fragrance, the more it dries down, the more heavy it becomes on the vanilla note. Again, in my opinion, a perfectly unisex fragrance. But this one, the dry down so far seems to be all about the mix of vanilla benzoin with a touch of sort of a floral freshness from a rose note, and maybe I pick up a hint of something boozy in here. The more this dries down, the more it reminds me of one of my most favorite vanilla scents, which is Mercedes-Benz Club Black. This doesn't feel as sweet as Mercedes-Benz Club Black, feels slightly fresher compared to that one, but definitely brings a very strong Mercedes-Benz Club Black vibes. Okay, now a few words about the dry down of a cherry incense. Now the dry down of this fragrance still retains that strong cherry note that I got in the opening of this fragrance, but the dry down now is way more smoky, way more incensey compared to the opening. Also there's some some woods on the dry down, maybe some other sweetness. This smells to me like a cherry, smoky cherry lollipop. Let's go with that. The opening, as I said, leaned a little bit to the masculine side, and the dry down is even more leaning to the masculine side in my opinion. Still, this can be considered as a unisex scent, but leaning a little bit to the masculine side. And let's check out the dry down of Posh Omega. This is a very, very lovely, very masculine fragrance. The dry down has become, quite a lot sweeter. The vanilla has really started to gain some strength on the dry down. There's some added sweetness and a bit of powderness from a tonka bean note in here. The leather note is pretty strong on the dry down and it feels really, really nice. And also, about 1 hour after spraying this one, the cardamom is still going very, very strong. And this fragrance is very, very sexy, definitely. And seems to be very, very close to what I remember the original scent from Jean Paul Gaultier smelling. I really, really like Posh Omega so far. And so guys, in today's video I tried 5 new Fragrance World scents that got delivered earlier today for the first time. I hope that you found this video interesting or entertaining. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me in the next one. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.